Hello, people. Yeah, sorry, this is a disorganized stream. It's been a while since I've strummed. Um, yeah. Hi, Eric. Yeah, so this is gonna be kind of different stream than normal. One, this is gonna be I'm gonna try to do some retro modding news stuff, which is sort of different than my other streams used to be like modding a thing. And I'm also joined by um, Bonzo, who is a contributor to my Discord. I have my stream deck set up so I can like. Oh my god, it blew up. Of course, it blew up. Oh, hey, maybe you blew up, or did I blow up? Oh god, you're flickering. Okay, now you're fine now. So this is Bonzo. Um,
Hi,
he
everybody.
he's a contributor. Hopefully, you guys can hear him. Let me know if you can't. Contributed to my Discord channel, Discord, and he runs. What is it? Bonzo's Retro Shop. I literally
Bonzo's
forget.
Retro
Okay.
dot shop. Yeah.
So if you guys want to check that out, I think. What kind of things do you have in stock right now that you want to plug?
Well, I don't have a whole lot in stock right now, to be honest, but new Sandy open source cart
Card reader
readers
stuff.
stuff will be coming soon.
Ooh, so I can also do both of us. This is very disorganized. I just put this together so we could both talk. And we can talk about some stuff. So, okay. So no one's saying anything, which is always the worst part about these streams. Not like I need people to chat, but yeah,
That's all right. This will be recorded for people to
that's true.
tune in and watch
Yes.
after the fact,
Okay,
right?
so let's see if this will work. I'm gonna try to do a thing. Oh, do I have a? Oh gosh, I kind of have a browser thing. Here we go. I hope. Oh no, I have to add Discord audio to this. Hold on. This is gonna be part retro modding news, part fix my OBS because it's not. I'm not prepared. So this would be application audio capture Discord. Boom. Okay. Um, can you say something now? Let me just see if the
Hello? Can you hear me?
yeah the bar go up. Let me
Nice.
see if I can listen to the stream on like. You know what's super annoying? Oh god. God. YouTube makes it kind of difficult to watch your own live stream. I have to go to my channel. Let me see.
I think I disappeared on your
Okay.
stream.
Yeah, you might have. I don't know. That's sus. Sorry, guys. This is why this is a test. Why is my mouse cursor gone? My mouse cursor is gone. Okay. Oh no. Um.
Different windows are flickering.
Oh god. Okay. Oh my god. Why? Hi, Eugene. How are you? Properties. I'm working on it. Discord. This? Null? Hey, Belmont. How are you? I don't want to click on it. I think this is what it should be. Oh gosh. Why are you flickering? Oh, now you're back. Now you're not flickering. Where is my actual OBS? No, not OBS. Discord. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you should be there. You're flickering.
Ooh.
No, this is terrible.
Is it when you click off?
It shouldn't. Well, it's when I click off of Discord. Oh, if I don't move. Don't move. I don't know. Okay, now you're there. Okay, no, this is a nightmare. Hi, level 1 online. Ugh, I don't know. Well, we're just gonna wing it. Bonzo. If it's annoying, I can disable Bonzo and just we'll keep going. But okay, so let me pull up. I guess we'll start with something that I actually bamboozled Bonzo because I told him we were gonna start talking about one thing, and I guess we'll talk about pixel effects because that's the most solid thing that we've got to talk about. So let me just back up because Pixel Effects. Hopefully, nothing sensitive information pops up. Pixel FX had posted this teaser on June 30th. This it's like an announcement. Now we know it was an announcement for an announcement. So they have this TV thing, and embedded here, if you like zoom into this video, was version 7.15. So that was kind of telling people, hey, am I planning to do the Xbox Mini? Hold on, level one. I'll talk about that in a second. So anyways, this was like an announcement that they might have another announcement on July 15th, which was yesterday. Level one, I do want to make an Xbox Mini. So here's the thing about Xbox Mini. There are two versions of it. If you want to know more information about this, by the way, there's this. Unfortunately, it's a private Facebook group, but it's open to the public, so you can request to get added to this group. There's two different versions of this Xbox Mini. One is called the Xbox Mini, which is based on an older mod. Like somebody in 2007 or 8 or something made the first version of this Xbox Mini, but they used acrylic. I don't know. It was an acrylic case. Fast forward now, this other person is trying to recreate that case, but make it 3D printed, and it's essentially a tiny. I guess we'll just talk about that instead. Do you guys want to just talk about Xbox Mini instead of the Pixel Effects thing first? So I made a tweet. This is what level one's talking about or referencing. So this is the Xbox Slim. So there's two different versions of this new Xbox Mini. The Xbox Mini itself is a case. Oh, actually, hold on a second. I have one. Oh, okay. Bonzo's just gone. Your video is just dead. I don't know what happened. So this is
That's all right.
This is the Xbox Mini case. Right, so it's basically just big enough to. Oh, and I have an Xbox motherboard because I'm also working on the Stellar mod chip. We'll talk about that tonight too. So the I don't even know what way it goes in here. So the Xbox Mini case is just big enough. The Xbox Mini case is just big enough to fit the Xbox mod or Xbox motherboard in it. And it doesn't fit the power supply, so I have the power supply behind me as well. So on an actual Xbox, you have the motherboard and the power supply side by side. It kind of makes the Xbox. That's what makes the Xbox wide instead of kind of like more square. So, however, the only problem, and you can kind of see it from the profile, is this. So this is the Xbox Mini. This is what this one is called, the Xbox Mini. So obviously, you can't fit a DVD drive in this. You can't fit the hard drive, a 3.5 inch hard drive in this, and the developer that's working on the case, the heat sinks are too tall to fit everything in, so they actually recommend these other heat sinks to swap out. So that's kind of, it's still in flux as far as the parts that you need to order and what everything is going to look like. I guess. I mean, it's going to look like this, obviously. Oh, cat hair. It's going to look like this.
Is this the project that has the custom heatsink? Where
Right.
they're kind of
this is
combining the two into
Mini.
a single block?
So, but I mean, it's pretty much using the stock Xbox. You can do any mod that you want to it. Oh, I mean, okay. It needs to be modded. It needs to be some kind of mod. The Mini, I know a little bit about this. The Mini itself, I believe, will only be compatible as of right now with certain motherboard revisions because you need to do what they call the Pico power supply, Pico PSU or something, which requires you to get a Xbox to ATX adapter. So this on a 1.0 to 1.4 has a different connector or something. So you need an adapter because this is a 1.6 motherboard. So this is a more ATX style. I think this might work with a Pico. This is a 1.6. Anyway, so the older revisions, you need this custom PCB that is old, that's like chilling out there, so you need to order that. Then you need the it does kind of look sick, like look at the back of it. Then you need a Pico power supply for that, and like all the bill of materials parts for this one. Plus, there's a space in the front for an OLED screen, so it's kind of an interesting thing. And then basically you only have space for 2 controller ports that use basically you're decapitating an Xbox controller adapter, like the part that plugs into a Xbox. You're like cutting that off and plugging that in the front, so like you're basically plugging the, I don't know what you call it, the breakaway part of the Xbox controller. You're plugging that part into the Xbox every time. That's why the holes are tiny in the front. So you only have 2, and then a power button, and then these are like status LEDs here. So pretty cool project, but it requires a lot of parts. You're talking probably, not including the shell, so assuming that, and this is ABS, so I printed this on my Voron, assuming you could print your own case in not PLA, so you need to have heat resistant filament, which this is ABS. This is a pain in the butt too. This is essentially the reason I built my Voron, was to print this case. So if you have to have somebody else print you this is probably going to cost you about $200 to have someone else print you a nice one. So that's the first problem. Then there's all the other components: the heat sinks, the Pico power supply, the board. So it's just a lot. It's like probably $300 or $400 in parts, and then you have to mod chip your Xbox. So you're talking well over $1,000 for everything all in if you don't have anything. So it's a big thing. Anyway, so that's that. But the Slim is different from the Mini because the Slim allows you to reuse the power supply. So that's why you could see in this picture on the right hand side of here is the Xbox motherboard. This is a render. This is a little mod chip here. On the left side is stock motherboard. So this just enables you to not need the Pico power supply, but still make a mini case. But essentially, it does away with the DVD drive, so it makes it as small as possible, and you're only gonna be able to run games off of the disk drive, which most people that mod stuff, I think that's probably the case. Anyways, I mean, if you are gonna, I don't know, pirate games, I guess I'll say. If you're, that's just, I don't know, that's my opinion. So it's a cool project. I'm still following it, but I don't think it's going to be for everyone. It's going to be like a flex. I mean, if you have one of these, it's going to be like, wow, look at me, I'm a cool guy. So I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think it's a super cool project.
Yeah.
I mean,
the hard drive will go at the top there. Yeah.
I'm excited to. Well, I don't know if I'll build one. It's just, it seems like a lot of work.
Oh God,
but my audio too low?
No, I don't know what's happening with the. Okay, maybe that worked. Hey, I think I might have solved it. Maybe not. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Where did you get this? So the STL is in that private Facebook group. The STL's in the private Facebook group right now. I can. I'll put it as a tweet. Just go to my Twitter and follow me on Twitter, and I'll reply to this with the Facebook link. Only the Mini so far is quote unquote finished. The case design is finished. However, I think there's so for both the Mini and the Slim, there are multiple revisions of it. There's one that has 2 LED screens. There's one that has 0 LED screens. So that's like, and this one guy is like pumping them out. So there's a lot going on.
Is there like a bill of materials for the project? You can say like, Mini, I want to build one. Okay,
well, that's
cool.
what I'm saying. It's still in flux though. So like some of them, it's stuff that you would have no matter what. Anyways, like, I mean, you're gonna have the SATA IDE thing for a hard drive. You're gonna need a 2.5-inch hard drive. But currently the things that I would I can't recommend you going down the path of doing it yet because the heatsink stuff is like, they're like $20 a piece heat sinks, and the Pico power supply is sort of expensive, like $75 or $80 or something just for the power supply. So it's very expensive. But yes, I would say if you're a hardcore Xbox person, I mean, it would be compatible with pretty much any setup because it's essentially built around the stock Xbox board, right? So if you have a Stellar, it would work. If you have a Xenium chip, it would work. If you have an HDMI modded system, it would work because the HDMI modded systems work with the stock AV port hole in the back anyways, and that is designed for the stock AV out. So the mini case. So yeah, it's really interesting. If somebody ever, yeah, if the bill of materials gets finalized, I think that'd be interesting, but it's not going to be cheap. Oh, so the slim, like I said, it probably will end up being cheaper. It'll be wider, obviously, but you'll lose some of the weight. Like you'll lose the disk drive weight. You'll lose a big hard drive, and you probably can get away with using an SSD, a SATA SSD. But the developer is working on a custom PCB. You can kind of see in this picture, this board at the top. They're designing this board. Oh, and it also will have 4 controller ports instead of just the 2 on the mini. But the LEDs and things. So they're working on this now. That's why it's not really, the slim version is not released yet. Okay, cool.
Looks awesome. Is there a version of the STL that has a HDMI port on it instead of the whole AV port?
Probably not. It's just the files for it as is. Could an OG Xbox power supply just be made and enter external? That's an interesting question. I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, you would have to be. I guess you could have. The problem with that is that the power supply really powers both the hard drive and the Xbox. So that's one of the problems. So I could see like a dock. Well, I don't know. A SATA dock, like a SATA Xbox. Like I don't know. It would have to be really well thought out to manage powering both the disk drive and the hard drive and the Xbox itself. But that's a good question. And worth it. Like I guess the idea is just to make it your Xbox not be huge, which, yeah. Oh no, where's my water? I left my water in the bathroom. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Hey, everybody. You're just stuck with me for a minute. Yeah. If anybody has any questions or topics that you'd like us to talk about, go ahead and throw those in the chat. And I don't think we have like a set topic list or anything, so we can, add things to our topic list and come back to them. And, we're constantly looking for new things to talk about. So go ahead and
Who am I? Tim
shoot
Quillity.
anything.
I'm a person. Fode ODE supported consoles. Hi, Brian Chambers.
I just asked for people to give us any topic ideas if they had any questions or things that they wanted us to talk about, that to go for it, because I don't think we have too much of a topic list for tonight. I know we have a couple ideas, so yeah.
Okay. Who am I? Oh, they're talking to yeah. Yeah, for anyone to join after, this is Bonzo. Just a contributor to my Discord, and they run Bonzo's Retro
Shop.
Sorry.
That's all good. I mostly sell Sanity open source cart reader kits. Right. There's a few random other things on there too. I'd like to have more of a variety, but that's what I got for now. And they're not in stock. But new revision just came out, so hoping to have those soon.
There's an easy question here. What games/systems we're playing right now? We'll move on to another topic after this, but I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom. Before that, I really don't I don't really play that. I don't have that much time. Any free time that I've got, it pretty much goes to this or other things. So yeah.
I was playing Tears of the Kingdom for a few weeks. I'm pretty far,
What do
but
you
I needed a break.
what do you think of it without spoilers?
I like it a lot. I mean, I'm addicted to it. I want to keep playing it. I've just sank so many hours into it, and I'm not done with it yet, so I want to go back to it. But I'm having a lot of fun. There's so many things to do and unlock, and I think
Oh
a lot
God.
of them have been fun so far.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I agree. I think that I I don't love it. I didn't love Breath of the Wild either.
What don't you like about it?
I'm just going to look for the other topic, the next topic while I'm doing this. I'm used to linear Zelda. This is not. It's too much open. It's not that I don't like it. I would just not. I prefer to not think of it as a Zelda game. I guess is this and Breath of the Wild. So, which is a shame. Like I'm super used to the more linear Zelda. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I haven't played a lot of them. I mean, the first Zelda game I played was Ocarina of Time, and that was a lot of fun. And got me into the series.
How
But
how many other
I
have
haven't
you
played that
played?
many of them.
Oh, I don't know if we could be friends now.
Oh
I'm
man.
just kidding.
Oh man, Wind Waker, of course. I was playing the HD remake
Yeah, Wind Waker's
before Breath of the Wild.
Wind Waker slaps. Um, yeah, I don't know if it's overwhelming. It's just I don't my my brain doesn't necessarily like when there's no immediate goal. So and not only that, it's like with Tears of the Kingdom, there's like 5 main quests in the very beginning, and I that freaks me out because I'm just like I don't know what order to do them in so that I'm not messing with the story. So I think I would have had
Yeah.
a better time if it was still open world, but I had a single linear story that kind of led me through the main story.
Well, what's your do you look stuff up or do you not do you not look anything up?
I looked up the duplication glitch and some other things. Like I looked up. I don't want to spoil anything, but I looked up a thing that you could do before. I looked up a thing that you do in the air. I guess I should say that I did before some other things that you could possibly do. So I kind of did it some things out of order. I'm okay with spoilers personally. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just saying I'm okay if I accidentally see something online or someone talks about something online. Like I don't really freak out about that. But I could see how some people could get mad if they didn't do it in the right order. I feel like they really could get mad at that, and it doesn't force you to do it in order. Um, I guess that's the part really that I struggle with. So okay,
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I have no problem looking things up, so I
yeah,
will just go at it and be like, all right, what are the out of all the extra things to do, like I'll figure out what I want to do in like that play session or week or whatever and
like do
just
you
go
just
at
look
it.
up like, hey, what do you recommend I do, or like do you like have like, oh, what gear should I get or something? Like I don't know.
Oh, there's all the
Or is there like you just straight up watch a strategy guide and just follow or look up a
there's so
strategy
much
guide?
gear to get and it's just
Yeah,
kind of all spread out and
yeah,
no spoilers on gear types or whatever, but some pieces of gear are useful for different things. So, you
interesting.
know,
Yeah.
I was like, all right, well, if I get this gear set, it'll make going forward a lot easier. So,
Yeah, uh, George or Jorge, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. My son, so I had my game, so it was before the patch, right? So there was a patch that got rid of the dupe, the first dupe, the one where you like jump and like juggle items or something, and it makes them fall and they duplicate. My son also uses our Switch, and he likes to mash buttons or just doesn't really think about what he's doing. He updated the game. He updated the game, and it got rid of the duplication. Like, I, I made a bunch of diamonds, so I had a bunch of money. Like I will complain. I will spoil one thing. Sort of. It's not really a story spoiler, but it's you level up items by using. Okay, you can level up. Okay, I'll try not to spoil things. You can level up gear. There's like 3 tiers that you can level up your gear, but it requires other items, like consumable items that you find in the world. And some of those items that you have to find are impossible to, like, they're very difficult, or it would take you literally hours and hours of grinding to get the items. So I was just duping the items for that sort of thing because I just wanted to be easy mode and get it done with. So, okay. I don't know. Oh, hey. Oh, yeah, that's right. From TTM. So I used to Bonza for the FYI. I used to stream. Oh shit! What the Apex Legends, that game. So we had this like comedy thing, comedy like YouTube channel. That's where I learned to edit YouTube videos. Was there. So
This was pre Dubes days, right?
no, I don't know. I've been Dubes since middle school, but
Oh, sorry, before you had your own YouTube channel.
Yes. Well, I had it open. I just didn't use it. Yeah. So this is all. I can link to that if you want to enjoy some cringe. I thought it was fun. I mean, we got 1,000 subscribers, but yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the Pixel Effects thing. So we already talked about how there was this pre-announcement that there was supposed to be something on July 15th, or that was the rumor that something was going to be announced on July 15th. Wow, thank you, YouTube. 20 minutes later, telling me I'm live through an email. Okay, so then on July 15th, they announced this Pixel FX Adventure thing, which the audio, I'm not going to be able to play the audio here, but there's this guy that looks suspiciously like, who's that guy? What's his name? The completionist. What's his? Gerard. Yeah, Gerard. I think that's his name. Yeah, it looks just like that guy. Okay. Anyways, so he's going through this thing, he's saying something like, "Wow, you can upscale everything." So I think the rumor kind of is that this on July 21st, which is what, 5 days from now, that they might talk about Pixel FX Morph. Maybe that's what I think it is. There's no other hints really in this other than different. It scales everything, and there's different kinds of filters you can add to this product. They're kind of referring to it as a new product or a product. Now, it's semi-disappointing because, not disappointing, everybody thought that the PS2 digital was going to drop that day. That's the big item that I think a lot of people are. My cat is trying to sit on my. Please don't cancel my stream, cat. Okay. People thought that the PS2 digital was going to be announced that day, and it was this Pixel FX Adventure thing. So I think it's the Morph, and so if you haven't been watching Retromani News in a while, actually I haven't talked about the Morph in a while. The Morph is Pixel FX's scaler that I believe it's on the same level as the RetroTink 5X as far as its output capability. It's not going to rival, I think it's not going to rival the 4K, RetroTink 4K. Unless they somehow, between when they last talked about it and now, they massively updated it. I don't know. Or massively up-powered it or something, but I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Bonzo? Do you think
I'm excited for the Morph. I haven't. The only scaler I have right now is a GBS control, and a friend is giving me an OSSC. I just learned yesterday, so that will be the nicest scaler I have, but it's not exactly new. So I've been waiting for this, along with the the other thing, the Switch. What's that called?
the Infinity Switch?
Yeah, there you go. The
Yeah.
Infinity Switch. But of course, I have a N64 digital, which is amazing, and I would like more of their products. So I like being in the ecosystem, and I'm curious to see.
Yeah, currently it's not really an ecosystem other than they share features. Because there's not really anything about it that precludes you from buying or not buying something else. So, which is kind of cool. Like, I appreciate that they are just using it as a way to piggyback on their products, I guess, like make their other products better. But until there's something crazy that maybe that the Infinity Switch does, maybe like that would be interesting if they could somehow. Okay, so let's talk about the Infinity Switch quick. So the Infinity Switch is supposed to be some kind of a auto switcher that is modular, that also will interface with the morph. It's supposedly able to interface with the morph in the sense that uh, the switch can tell you what's connected, or you can like assign, maybe you can assign profiles to things, and like let's say one of the inputs is like a N64 or something. The infinity switch will know that the input is there, but then it will tell the morph, hey, use this profile to do the scaling and stuff. So that is a cool that would be a neat ecosystem. But I've also heard that it's open. It's not like you can plug it into whatever you want. So, but the modularity of it is like you can have different input types, composite, component, VGA. No, I don't even know. Actually, I don't know if there's a VGA one, but there's a BGA. No, what is it called? Not RCA, but the
On it?
no, but the
Oh, BNC.
yeah, BNC. Yeah. So I think that is one of the things. So it's interesting. I I hope that there's no crazy feature that requires the infinity switch, because unfortunately I don't have the space to have my stuff plugged in. You can see my Extron plugged in up here, but like I don't know. I don't have the space to have everything constantly plugged in all the time. So, but it
Well,
also has.
I could see if they had some features that came in where, they're going to start doing the three-tiered approach. I think it was three.
Yes. Oh yeah.
To
I
where,
kind of forgot about that.
yeah, so maybe if you have the lower end mod in your console, that if you have it connected through to a morph, or maybe to an infinity switch to a morph, that it could show all the features that are in the higher end versions of that
Like
mod,
enable
and it
them.
just
You mean?
kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, and it just kind of works and it becomes seamless. So I could see like that would be really cool, better user
I think
experience in the end.
I think either someone mentioned also that there might be a way to. I don't know if it was through. What the heck just happened? I don't know if it was through. Oh, are you there, Bonzo?
Yep.
Oh, your video just exploded. No video.
Uh-oh.
Did your camera overheat? That'd be hilarious. Not hilarious, but
Let me see.
anyway, so I think it might have been Mike Chi that mentioned that there might be a way in the future to have the HDMI signal, or like the connection through HDMI, to communicate to something that it's plugged into. So let's say you had the lowest tier Pixel FX mod in your thing, so like the cheapest thing. So anyways, the tier thing is supposed to be Pixel FX announced that they might have different levels of their mods for their systems, internal HDMI mods, so that like there'd be a high tier one that has like a bunch of features, then like a mid tier one, which I think is what we have now, or maybe it's the high tier one is the one we have now, and then like a basic tier that is just gonna be the console's raw output but digital, and like digital to digital still. So Mike, I think, talked about like along with the video, the raw video, because that's pretty much how the RetroTink 4K should handle HDMI input as well. Is like how I guess the plan should be like, okay, if you want to, because you can have HDMI input also with the 4K and you can upscale it, but you probably wanted it as raw as possible. Like you don't want, let's say I had a RetroTink 5X, or no, let's say I had an N64 digital. I wouldn't want to upscale that with the N64 digital mod. I would want to just output it at 240p and then have the mod or the scaler scale it from the digital signal. But Mike mentioned that you might be able to communicate with the scaler over HDMI, which I thought was kind of cool. Like you can insert packets or something into the HDMI signal. So the sky's the limit. And I mean, I don't even know. Like I mean, I barely understand that. I know that you can mess with the HDMI standard. I guess as far as like setting headers and things, so you might be able to butcher it and do some cool stuff. But who knows? My only concern with that, I think, is if it's not an open standard. So like if Mike decides to do that and his is not compatible with Pixel FX's thing, that would suck. So I would hope that it would be an open standard so that they would be able to communicate.
Yeah,
I squared C.
that would be awesome. I think the only problem with the morph is that it sounds like the retrofitting 4K is not too far out, and
Yes, but it also
they just
sounds. Oh, Eric found it. Yeah, it also sounds like the 4K is probably going to be. I'm gonna guess $800, maybe more.
yeah,
So
it sounds like it'll be a lot. But if you're interested in spending that much money, maybe you would have bought the Morph previously, but now you're just gonna hold off and get the 4K.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, don't necessarily know if retro consoles need it particularly, but what I can see happening is digital becoming better than digital to digital becoming better than analog to digital. So, for example, let's say you've got an NES RGB modded NES and a let's say you have a high quality cable well, no, yeah, let's say you have the multi out also and an HD Retrovision SNES cable. So you have a high quality cable, you have a high quality mod. I'm curious at what point, or high quality RGB output. I'm curious at what point you will see artifacts in the analog video, if at all. I don't know if it's possible to filter it out, because one thing, and this is no shade to Voltar, but if you have caught up to speed with the so Voltar is working on this. I'll call it 3-chip because I respect Red Herring or CO. Someone yelled at me for calling the 2 chips 2 chips. The 3 chips because they have the CPU and the two PPUs. So they're technically 3 chips. Anyway, so Voltar's been working on this 2-chip RGB mod that sharpens them, and then so I guess his mod will be 2-layered. It'll be sharpening. I won't talk about that because I've talked about it before. But let's say get as good RGB output as possible from 2-chip RGB mod or 2-chip SNES. But if you look at some of these pictures, and this is heavy pixel peeping, I don't think you'd really notice this in game. You could definitely see, unless this is Twitter, but I don't think it is because it's like obvious discoloration or like pixels are different colors compared to like the 1-chip or like an SNES Junior. You can tell that there's noise in big blocks of color, but that's that mod. So like I don't know until I get my hands on the Junior or that new mod versus the Junior. I don't know at what level. I don't know what. I don't know. Mike Chi obviously knows his stuff. Like I trust that he'll know what he's doing, but I don't know if digital to digital is going to be obviously better than having it analog input. I don't know.
I think there's been some comparisons in the past, and it doesn't seem like it's been a huge difference.
Yeah.
Voltar might have been even the person that put it in his video for the N64 mod of
Right.
his. So I'm not too sure. I think the even the analog part looks pretty good. I mean, any improvements, of course, we'll take them.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I guess I don't really know what I'm talking about because obviously the Retrolink 5X had to deal with some of those problems too. Because at a certain point, you're just trying to gather the raw pixel data, and that's what the phase stuff does. The phase detection stuff is like trying to nail your analog capture. I think I don't know a ton about that, but it makes sense because you have like a generic phase which is just good enough for most stuff, and then you can actually say no, the genesis is off by a little bit and this is how much off it is. That's what the preloaded. But then there's the auto detect, which Mike has some algorithm that figures it out. So as long as that's good enough, then at that point it's just, hey, this is your raw 240p analog capture, transform it to digital and scale it like that. Like you're not going to introduce noise from there to 4K, I guess is what I'm saying. So I don't know. We'll have to find out. Okay. I guess. Oh gosh. I'm gonna try my best to discuss the stuff around Stellar, the drama that's around the Stellar stuff and Make Megahertz, just for awareness. No, that's not the right word. I want to be transparent that Ryan from Castlemania Games sent me a Stellar and the Stellar HD Plus, so I will be making a review. He didn't send me any money. He's not going to send me any money for making the review. I just have the product from Ryan from Castlemania. So in a way, they're sponsoring it, but they don't have any influence about what the actual video is going to be. So that's my disclaimer. Now, there has been. I'm not going to pull up any images for this either, so I'm going to try to wing it because I don't want to confuse the issue with, and I guess I don't want to bake in stuff that I don't know is going to last. So let me see. Stellar was announced last year sometime. Project Stellar is Make Megahertz's newest Xbox mod chip. So they had they had released this open source version of Xenium, which was a pretty popular but open source mod chip. Now Project Stellar kind of replaces that, and that is not open source. So Project Stellar is a closed source thing that Make Megahertz has developed, and if you know anything about Make Megahertz, they also released several different internal HDMI mods for the Xbox. So there was the original one was called Xbox HDMI. Then that one was renamed, but also upgraded, I guess, to Xbox HD Plus. The goal with those mods was to have 720, and I think it was supposed to be able to upscale to 1080. That was on the original. Too much drama running. Yeah. Belmont, I know. I'm trying to keep it not logical, because I mean it's not logical, but I'm trying to keep it level. I know a lot of the facts. A lot of the facts are like bouncing around in my head, and I just it's a lot to process for a normal person just watching by, or walking by the tweets, I guess. So, Project Stellar was announced last year. It was supposed to come out in early No, Belmont, it's fine. I just there's a lot involved with it. Anyway, so it was supposed to come out early this year. I believe it didn't come out until April, but it had a huge list of features. Let me see. Do I have a? I'll just do it offline. I'll talk about it. I'll pull it up and I'll just talk about it. So it had a big list of features. I'm looking for a specific thing. Or is it on my phone? Gosh, this sucks. Sorry for the nothing, but it's kind of important to have everything. I bet you I don't have it. Frick. Do I have it here?
I think my camera keeps overheating.
Oh boy. Is it can you switch it to you don't need it to record 4K right now. You can switch it to 1080 if you, that's probably, that sucks, man. That's obnoxious. He just bought Bonzo just bought a new camera, so it's kind of like feeling it out. Okay, I don't know. I can't find this particular thing. It had a big list of features. Some of them are not currently working with the released version of this Project Stellar. So some of the features that are not working are things like 128 megabyte and 256 megabyte RAM for the Xbox. I think the largest, yeah, okay, Belmont has it. Yep, kernel level ODE. So these are different. Basically, with a modded Xbox, you can't really run ISOs. You have to convert them to, or you either rip them in a certain format, or you have to convert an ISO to a certain format. Like it's like the XBE or something. That's like a specific executable that the Xbox runs. So one of the advertised features was this running of ISOs, which kind of essentially makes it an ODE in the sense of you don't have to convert any game files. You just can run straight ISOs on it. So that's this kernel level thing. That's not working right now. CISO, I don't know what that. Oh, compressed ISO. So that would be like taking a large, because if you know anything about Xbox files, they're not really small. That's not like older flash carts where you could fit a ton of games on a flash cart and have all the games on a flash cart and have still room left over. You basically need a multi-terabyte hard drive to have everything. So the compressed ISO limits how big of a hard drive you need to have the entire library. Thanks, Belmont. You're a real one for listing this out. I don't know what ATA trim support. Is that some SSD thing?
I don't know either. That was going to be my guess.
And then there's support for 128 and 256, which you have to add more RAM chips. And I guess there's this Make Megahertz had access to this higher density RAM, so you could have, because normally it's like you either have the normal amount, which is what is it 64, or you double it to 128 with adding 2 of the RAM chips to the board because they're not populated. Anyways, I don't know the thing. So there's a few features that are not listed, and there's more beyond what's listed that is frustrating people. So I don't know what sparked. There was kind of a feud between Make Megahertz. I'm not really going to go into this, but a feud between Make Megahertz and Modsville USA, another YouTuber. I like Modsville. I like Make Megahertz, so it's hard for me to. I can't pick a side on that because it sounded like it was sort of a weird thing. You can add 4 RAM chips. So it seemed like a personal thing, the Modsville versus Make Megahertz thing, but I guess that because he was working. Modsville also sells in small batches some other Xbox related things, and he was selling because Make Megahertz still sells the open source Open Xenium chips. Modsville was trying to sell a more authentic. The Open Xenium that Make Megahertz developed also has like an updated firmware that Make Megahertz also developed. I don't know if the firmware for that is open source, but Make Megahertz updated that to fix some issues. I guess there was like a built-in bricking function to the Open Xenium, the original Open Xenium, or Xenium. Sorry, not Open Xenium because that was the newer one. There was some built-in like bricking function that if you like didn't use authentic RAM or someone didn't flash the firmware correctly, it would just be bricked, and that was the end of it. So Make Megahertz fixed the firmware so that it wouldn't brick itself. And I believe actually the Open Xenium removes part of that bricking system was some actual hardware like on the circuit, the PCB, I think. So I think the Open Xenium actually removes some of those that functionality, that brick stuff. So to me, that's like the big thing that Make Megahertz did that kind of makes Open Xenium seem like it's the way to go if you're going to get a Xenium chip. But I can understand if you are way into the Xbox scene. The thing that Modsville specifically called out was that Make Megahertz didn't like that. Modsville. Sorry, they're both amps. Modsville didn't like that Make Megahertz slapped his logo over the original Open or Xenium developer name. So I don't really know how I feel about that, but obviously Modsville didn't like that. So that basically that storm, that drama caused Modsville to make a video about Project Stellar, and he mentioned all those things that did not work in the current iteration of Project Stellar. So hopefully everyone's following me so far. But now it's kind of turned into a retro community-wide I won't say witch hunt, but it's like people are annoyed that the Project Stellar mod was starting to be sold and marketed that it was going to be like finished, like all these features were going to be finalized by a specific date or something. And there's people who are talking about it today on Twitter about exactly what date it was supposed to be or whatever. But it was supposed to be out of this beta state that Project Stellar is now months ago. Obviously, it didn't even release until April something, or didn't become available until April something. So I don't really know what people can expect beyond that. However, it's not right for Make Megahertz to keep calling this kind of finished. I guess he should. What people are asking him, I think that he should do a public apology. I think your camera died again. I think Make Megahertz needs to address the community. I know there's more drama surrounding Make Megahertz, by the way, not just this. So I'm not going to talk about that. So I'm just talking about this specific Project Stellar, current Project Stellar thing. So, and there's also even more things besides features that don't work, that are annoying people with Stellar. So one, I think that Make Megahertz for that issue of, for the issue of this mod being sold and people kind of thinking that it's final or like it's not in beta anymore. I think that's not correct. I think it's still in beta, and he should just address the, hey, going forward until I actually say it's not in beta anymore, consider this a beta product. Here are the features that actually work. He should, I don't even know if I would call that an apology, but he should just tell the community that that is the state of the product. And I hate to say that he probably should offer refunds for people that bought and are not happy with the missing features. So Make Megahertz, if you're watching this, that's what I recommend you do. But that's one aspect of it, is the missing features and this beta state. Do you want to insert anything before I move on to this another issue?
I don't know. I think you know a lot more about this than I do. So I think I'll just let you keep going.
Okay. So that's what I would consider the legitimate annoyance of people with Project Stellar. Now, I would say that there's another group of hardcore Xbox people. So these are people that are like Modsville. They eat, sleep, breathe Xbox, all the new features, right? So every time there's a new BIOS, every time there's a new feature, like I would say that the latest, well, I don't know that much about Xbox stuff, but there is this Xbox BIOS called SurBIOS that is very popular with people now. I think it is an illegal BIOS in the sense that it was a reverse engineering of a stock BIOS, and they used some of the reverse engineered code, something like that. So that brands it kind of as tranquility. As a customer of both Make Megahertz and Modsville, I like to clearly list what features. Yes. Yeah, I think, well, so here's the other thing before I move on. I do want to address the SurBIOS thing and other BIOSes besides Stellar OS. I think that there is a little bit of communication failure. Not failure, but like, I'm trying to be polite. I don't know. Poor marketing, or like, I don't know. Unwillingness to address the public on Make Megahertz's behalf, and I think that is. I don't think it needs to be rude, I'm not trying to be rude to Make Megahertz or anybody, and I don't think Make Megahertz needs to be rude to anybody else. But just keeping people up to date with things, I think, would go a very long way, or it's like the minimum that he should do. That's just my opinion. But I understand that not everybody is great at everything. When you become a business owner, or anything, when you're a content creator, like I feel this in different aspects, and I'm sure Bonzo feels this with operating his shop. When you're a one person operation, it becomes, you have to wear 3 billion hats all at the same time, and obviously not every human is built to handle that. That's why companies end up hiring other people that are better than you at the other things. So it's kind of, to me, it seems like it's at the level where if he wants to have a successful company, he might think about finding someone who's like a PR just someone to interface with the public. I'm not going to tell him what to do, but it kind of reminds me of, I used to work at a place where the CEO would just email everyone in the company, and sometimes he would just go on rants and things. So eventually he had his secretary limit him so that he had to email his secretary and proofread everything and make sure it was fine, and then she emailed it out. So it's kind of one of those situations, and I hope that doesn't come across as offensive, but I guess it's like when you have a company like this and you want to have a legitimate brand presence on the internet, that's just something that you need to do if you can't handle it on your own. And again, I don't want to be offensive to anyone. Everyone needs a secretary. Yes, I agree with that. So yeah, like Brian was saying, Brian Chambers said he needs public transparency. Yeah, I don't think he really needs to change anything other than be honest about what the product is now. I mean, I do feel like he is working very hard, and that's why he is very not on Twitter, is he's probably working on the mod chip. He's not like doing nothing, right? So I think he's trying very hard to work on these products, and I feel like he has a legitimate purpose. Like he has this legitimate goal, which is all those listed features of the product. But it's almost the reverse of like the RetroTink 5X, where like the original RetroTink 5X came out, and then there was a revision that added more features, right? And it was like more than the first version of the product. So that's kind of like the reverse of what Make Megahertz is doing here, I guess. And not, again, not trying to be rude or anything. It's like there's this lofty idea that probably was, I would assume it was probably 2 or 3 years out, not months, years of development. That's just how long sometimes development can take if you run into problems and you're on your own and you don't have anybody you can talk to about things. We're talking years, because this is COVID when things were happening. Years of development like that needed. I guess that probably should have been more transparent. At least since we knew about the project, it's been almost probably a year or maybe more. So I don't know. Plus, there's still work probably to be done. Okay, so that's that. I hope that is that's all I'm going to talk about that. Now the SirBIOS thing, I don't necessarily know, or like the ability for Stellar to use aftermarket or other BIOSes, I think is another place that people are upset with Stellar as a thing, because there was this sort of like vibe that Stellar was supposed to be like the one mod chip to rule them all, right? Like this was supposed to be the best mod chip you could ever buy, and it was kind of, it has this sort of feel like it was very open-ended like that. Like this is a really good mod chip, and you know it would be able to handle everything that you would need it to be like to do. Now contrast that with something like the Xenium, or there's umpteen million different mod chips, but I believe you can just like load any BIOS that you want onto those mod chips, and I don't really think that there's like that many like patches or things that you have to do to like get those to work. I'm completely ignorant when it comes to that, so I don't really know. But SirBIOS is a lot, like people are way into that right now. So like I don't think SirBIOS will work with Stellar, and I think people I don't know if that's a technical limitation, like a legitimate technical limitation, or if that's a way to keep people using Stellar OS, which I think I have this correct, that SirBIOS is one of those illegal BIOSes. Contrast that with Stellar OS. It was supposed to be like clean room sort of reverse engineering of a BIOS, so that is a quote unquote legal BIOS, Stellar OS. So that was part of this undertaking that Make Megahertz did on paper. You know, that's what it was communicated in the I'm gonna just put it on. Sorry, your camera. It was communicated that it. Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. Shoot. What was I just talking about? Oh, that it was that it might be compatible with things, of these other BIOSes. Well, see, I feel Dustin should have just sold an HDMI mod that includes the Stellar mod chip for 160. Is that not how much it costs for the Stellar and Xbox HD Plus? Stellar Xbox HD Plus? Oh, I see what you're saying. So like market it as market the HDMI mod. So yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't think that's an unreasonable price, especially since that's sort of like the way things are or that's like the price point that things are at. Tony, my guest is Bonzo. His camera is overheating, which is funny because it's a long story, but so his video is but he's He's a contributor to my Discord, and he is the I it's Bonzo's Retro shop.
Shop. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did it. He runs that store. So
But as far as Stellar goes and all of these features, I think something that would be nice, just because of the state that we're at, is if there were some roadmap for targets. Is like
yeah.
I think
Well,
I think unfortunately like we're behind right now, and I'm sure that's part of the scramble and being less public is just trying to get stuff done, right? Like you were talking about, he's wearing all the hats.
yeah.
But if there were some like, hey, here's all the features that are proposed. Let me put these in order of this is what I'm working on. This is what's going to come out next. Just to set expectations, at least from here. I think that would be a super cool thing.
I sort of feel like I don't speak for him, and I didn't talk to him about any of this stuff, like so I don't really have any insider info, but I feel like he's probably trying to tackle a bunch of different things, and he may be running into issues, and he doesn't know which ones are going to come up or which ones are going to work first. That would be my thing. Maybe he has like them all figured out already and it's going to be fine. I guess the alternative is he should have just not talked about it, but that's the problem with that is like you need people to use it. Something of this scale, right? It's not necessarily like any of the other types of mods. Xbox modding specifically it's heavily kind of intertwined with the software and the BIOS of the Xbox. So in order to unlock some of the features that have been promised and like to enable this upscaling functionality, you literally need to like have hooks in the BIOS of the Xbox to make them work. And that's like imagine somebody trying to work on an operating system or a BIOS and a mod chip firmware and the mod chip literally itself, and then do support for all those things also. It's a big ask. So I think that if the vibe was like, hey, here's this product, it costs $160, it's unfinished, here's the list of things that I hope to eventually have working, but take it, buy it or don't, basically. I think it would have been a different story if it was like it was just a matter of how the marketing was. I mean, I understand both sides of like, obviously this is a lot of stuff for Nick Megahertz to do. I don't think like the cost was fair. I think that the state of it now is fair for how much work it is. I don't think that he should have marketed it as a finished thing, or it was gonna be finished. Now he did mention that it was going to be in beta when it was released. He did mention that, but that was literally January of this year, before it was even available. So it was like April when it was available. So I just think he should. I don't know if you can gain. I don't think it may be too late for him to gain back some goodwill from some people. But I don't think it's a garbage idea, and it's not a garbage product because it works. Like the from the perspective of somebody who's like, okay, I bought this Xbox, I want to mod it. Getting into this Stellar ecosystem is a viable thing to do, right? It's like all in one. You don't have to like get a mod chip and then go find the HDMI thing. It's kind of like you buy this thing and you put it together and it's there and it's working, versus like, okay, let me pick my mod chip and like go learn about that mod chip for a while, then let me go find the right HDMI mod and hope they work together. It's not that. It's like a thing. So from scratch, building a modded Xbox, I think this is a good way to go. But I had already built the Xenium version. I have an Xbox HDMI, so I bought the first version on a 1.0 Xbox. So I have one of those. Then I bought Xbox HD Plus on a 1.6 Xbox, so I have one of those. I'm working on a Project Stellar video, so I have Project Stellar, and I have a second Project Stellar to upgrade one of those other mods, one of the ones that uses Xenium too. And I will have to say, I've looked at the installation instructions for Project Stellar, and it's easier than Xenium was, I would say. Easier to do, maybe not the mod work, but like there's a little less software. I don't know. I do highly recommend going to watch Modsville's video. Modsville knows a lot about. I do think that he might cover some stuff that might not be legal as far as like getting BIOSes and things. So I'm not gonna tell you how to do that, but Modsville has good videos about that. So I don't know if I just threw him under the bus, but it's worth watching the video, his Project Stellar video. Okay, let's see. We just want everything Peekaboot priced. Yeah, that's never gonna happen. I mean, maybe in the long run it might, but for now, yeah. PS1 Digital promised motion adaptive deinterlacing, and it took a while. Yep. Yeah, but that was like a one feature, so I can understand. It's difficult, and plus that's like an algorithm thing, so fine tuning that is different. Both Stellar and Xbox HD Plus work great for me. Yeah. Yeah, I have no doubt that it's gonna work. I mean, it worked for Modsville, so well, I think he tried to get it to work with different dashboards and things, and there were some issues, but so that's the problem. Like if I just make a video and it's just verbatim spitting out what's in the Make Megahertz guide already, I might not run into any issues. But as soon as I try to deviate, like, oh, I want to use this dashboard, I want to use Xbox or XBMC for gamers or whatever it is, it might blow up. I don't know. Yeah, I think the video Belmont was more fair than the Twitter post, to be honest. No offense. I like both of them. About the $10 adapter for the HD Plus. Not buying a Stellar till a couple of those features are. Yeah, I agree. Well, I think actually, interestingly, Modsville mentioned that if you have a upgraded CPU, that Stellar works well with the upgraded CPU. So.
Well, yeah, I think Red Herring was mentioning that there's going to be it'll like auto patch. I don't know if this is complete or pending, but it will auto patch games for you, so that way you can run them, without issues on the upgraded CPU. So I think that's going to be really cool.
Yeah. But again, it's like every feature that's going to be cool. I don't know. When do you believe? Like that's where I kind of understand the people that are upset, right? You can list, oh, it's gonna wipe your butt. Buy it. Like I don't know. I'm just making like that's kind of exaggerated, but you could say anything that you want, I suppose. Does that make sense? Like I'm not trying to be rude again to make megahertz, but you can say everything. That's going to be 1080p or it's going to be 1440p or it's going to be 4K. But if you never deliver, then it's just it's unfortunate. Yeah. People don't have much patience. Well, Scepter, I made a tweet today, and I'll talk about this. I don't have any other topics. I guess I do, but this live stream doesn't really. I'm still gonna do my month-long recap of things. I'm not gonna talk about the Stellar stuff. So this is really what you get there. Let me see. Where is my tweet? Okay, yeah. So Joe from Geek Crisis kind of said he's reacting to this Xbox news with this GIF, and then this is the vibe that I get from the community kind of over the years. This is not talking about this specific thing. This is over because I've been following Bob Retro RGB since like 2015 or 2016. I did my first mod in 2016, the NES RGB. So I kind of see this thing like, okay, here's this new, and it's gotten worse, not worse, but it's gotten quicker more recently, because way back then it was like, here's your list of mods, and it's not very big, right? Take it or leave it. Like you either care enough to do the mods that are available, or you just don't have a modded console. But now it's almost like there's so many different developers, which is great. Like that's a really good aspect of the community now. Is just, I don't know if it's easy to get into or like easy to connect with people, or maybe I have seen more different people out there, so I kind of know I have my feelers out on different projects. But I feel like there's just a lot more stuff that's happening at once. Like people are talking about Delta Station, the open source PS1 ODE. So part of the problem, I guess I could see is, there's a new retro product that comes out or gets announced, and it's limited stock because the developer doesn't really know how it's unless you're like one of the big people. But even then, like if you're a Pixel Effects, your thing is going to sell out no matter what anyways, right? So that it kind of adds to this, right? So like thing comes out, people, either well, hopefully if it's like a released thing, pretty much it's going to sell out. Even if nobody talks about it, you kind of know that the mod is going to sell out as soon as possible. Then sometimes reviews come out early. Like I know that Tito from Macho Nacho does a good job. Like he gets mods early, and I'm totally not jealous. But he does his best job of reviewing things ahead of time. But that's one man, right? Like one person. If you watch any of the other, if you're part of any other communities, like if you're into PC gaming or PC parts or whatever, you know that there's probably dozens of YouTube channels that get these early releases, and then they have a review, even if it's their opinion, not even a review. They get these things early, and they can tell you how they feel about it. That's not the case in retro. Even if both, because I would say Bob is probably the only other person that might get early access to something that I know of, like the big mods, whatever. Typically, it's just probably Macho Nacho, and that's it, really. And that, I'm not saying he also would have the capacity to like make the video on the release day, so it's like available for that, as a little review. But then most reviews of things like my video will come after it's released to the public, and then, even then it would probably take me a month to probably to from when I got it to when the earliest part I might have a released video, or the earliest time I might have a released video. So that's not super helpful if it's already sold out. And then I kind of put this as a little sarcastic. The console sits on a shelf because I don't really play games anyways, but it just goes to show you that I want to do the mod. So I don't necessarily. So I'm a different case. And I think the average, or like when these people develop a mod, I don't think that they're thinking of me when they develop these mods. I think they're trying to solve a solution, and they think that this is gonna be like, oh wow, this is a great thing for the public. I am like, okay, I'll get it all. I'll just buy everything, and then like maybe I'll make a video, maybe it'll sit in a box, maybe not. Like I'll spend the money to support a person, really, no matter what they say about it, and I guess kind of how it reviews, although it doesn't really review, like I said. So I guess my point in this was that there's not necessarily this review cycle like there is in other industries, right? If you call this an industry, there really isn't this wait till something gets reviewed first before people order it. It's kind of like they need to get it because it's a small batch. If they don't get it now, they don't get it. And not only that, having some of these more rare mods is it's an incentive to not gouge people, but like when you go around it, if you try to flip that console, or let's say you're a modder and you do mod work for other people, or maybe you just sell pre-modded consoles, there's a lot of money you can make, and this is no judgment. Like this is a legitimate thing that people can do, and I have no problem with it. Buy a rare mod, right? Do the install and then sell it, and make a few $100s or more, because it's just not in stock and people can't get it. Or maybe people were gonna do that anyways. I don't know. Hopefully I'm not ranting, but that's what I notice here is this is like repeating cycle of hey, there's stock of this thing, buy it no matter what, and then it doesn't really matter how the product actually does. It just people are gonna buy it no matter what. I think that's what the point I was trying to make.
Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, and like you mentioned, the people like us, I don't know what got you into retro, and this can be a topic for another day, but all the hardware that's being added to these old consoles is just the part that blew my mind and got me into it.
Yeah.
And I don't play my retro consoles as much as I would like, but what's being done with all these consoles in the functionality that's being added to them is kind of what gets me into this. And, that's why I buy things. And even our previous, well, you were talking about Project Stellar a lot. I have Project Stellar. I bought it. Honestly, until recently, because I don't use these mods that much, I didn't even know most of these features were missing. I just installed my Stellar somewhat recently, and I haven't even finished putting the Xbox back together. So,
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. It's weird, but hopefully people use their consoles more than we do.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. I don't know what portion. I don't think there's really good. CEO says that FOMO is bad for the community, but it's there, buddy. Like it's that runs the community, and I think this is the biggest justification against modding or no cloning that you could possibly have. Because I responded to that and I said, oh yeah, actually no, I wrote that somewhere. I quote tweeted this and I said, I wasn't trying to specifically make any reference to like the anything, the make megahertz drama or whatever. Developers want to make money so that they can make more things, and I don't think it's more or less greedy than that, right? I legitimately think that most developers want to help other people. They want to see a return on their time investment, so they try to sell their product no matter basically any means necessary. But for the most part, that just means that it's probably going to sell out anyways, regardless of whether or not they put infinite marketing or not infinite marketing into it. It's just going to sell out. Like let's say Make Megahertz didn't say anything. He didn't post any news about what Project Stellar was going to be. Do you think that it would have sold out, or like the pre-orders would have filled up right away? Probably, right? Like the pre-orders would have been filled out no matter what if it was just mystery mod by Make Megahertz and you didn't have any clue what it was going to be. That's all he really needed to do, or wait until there was more features. But yeah, right, Scepter. If it's a good idea, it will sell out, and I think that's. I don't think there's really that many bad ideas that are floating out there. I just maybe I'll open a can of worms. Wow, Belmont actually plays his retro consoles. That's
Wow.
rare. I don't know if that's rare, but I like to think it's rare. I'm just reading Spicer Labworks. Started playing again and stopped modding because it takes up too much time. Yeah, right. So here's the other thing. No, play only mod. Yes, MP3. I agree. I think it's gonna blow a lot of people's minds that if you just want to play video games and you want them to look good, or retro games and you want them to look good, you could just buy a Raspberry Pi. Like it was a meme for the longest time that Raspberry Pis aren't as good, and like don't you dare buy Raspberry Pi. You have to dedicate yourself to original hardware, 18 scalars, buy every HD Retrovision cable 5 times for every console that you've got, and that's not what people were saying, but like that's what people were doing, is having these massive setups and getting far away from the idea of playing the game. And Mike Chi and Voltar, they've joked about that, like just play the game. Like that's probably the truest thing that you could say. Like I recently got this, not recently, but I've had it for a few months. I got this the Miu Mini this handheld emulator. I wish it had like a video output, but this let me just get a game up. This emulator is probably the best retro related purchase I've made and I didn't buy an Analog Pocket. I kind of wish I'd bought an Analog Pocket, but this is the best retro purchase that I've made probably in 5 years. As far as, so I'll give you a 2-sentence review, or like 2-paragraph review, I guess I would say. So the coolest part about so this is an emulator. It can do up to PlayStation 1. So this is Crash Bandicoot. This is Crash Bandicoot. Let me see if I can get into the game. This is gonna be terrible. Sorry. I'm trying my best. It's loading. So this is like literally playing Crash Bandicoot, but it's like running in real time PlayStation 1 emulation, right, on a handheld. Oh man, I'm doing good here. Nice. But so then the second part that's cool about this, so that it goes up to, so you can do NES, Super Nintendo, all this stuff, but then it has this button in the middle that is a console switcher that you can switch to different games if you've got them running. So like I was playing Mario, so let's switch to Mario. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Shoot. Sorry, I'm trying to sell this thing. Not sell this thing. I mean, I don't have an affiliate link. Actually, I might be able to put an affiliate link on this. So now I'm playing NES Mario, right? So I got Mario here, right? Okay. Oh, now I want to go back to the game the Crash Bandicoot session that I was playing. Oh, it's here. It's running. Like, tell me that is not better than everything, including Mister. Tell me that's not better than Mister. Save states, quick retrieval, and when you shut it down and start it back up again, it's right where it was. Tell me that this $65 emulator thing that is pretty good. I mean, it's not amazing. Like the buttons are fine, but tell me this is not better technology than Mister. Other than accuracy of the, I'm not trying to shit on Mister because I like Mister, but functionality wise and portability and I don't know. I just
played with some of these for the first time on Friday. They're actually really cool. It's kind of surprising that they have different. There's so many of them available, so you can get them with the aspect ratio of a screen that best fits the type of game that you want to play, which is awesome. But also, like you mentioned, they're not expensive. They can play a ton of different consoles, and I think the part that it is an advantage compared to like a Nintendo Switch is they're actually portable. They're so easy to just throw in your pocket and bring with you everywhere. So
essentially disposable. Like if you broke this thing, I mean, maybe you'll cry a little bit, but $65, you can just, it's not a couple $100 thing like Mister or $400 or $500. If they made one of these,
and that's the cost of like a Game Boy mod, right? Like if you're gonna buy a Game Boy, what's that company? Funny Playing. If you're gonna buy one of their displays,
the IPS,
that
only plays Game Boy.
Exactly, and you can just get one of these, and it's just as portable, and you can play a ton of different games. So, I think they're really cool. I don't know if I would get one because I currently have the problem of not playing many games, but for somebody that does, I think it's one of the great ways to always have games with you.
Like I really appreciate Mister, because it's kind of twofold, right? One is the idea was it's accurate. It's people like to say hardware emulation a lot when it comes to Mister, but I think it's more than hardware emulation. You're literally simulating the circuits that make these consoles, as opposed to it's not some software. And when I say simulate, I think it like legitimately acts as though that hardware was present, if that makes sense. So it's far beyond emulation, I guess, in the traditional like software sense. But I mean, if this is as good as software emulation gets, I think that's different. But the other aspect of Mister is preservation of the circuitry, right? Because people are kind of staring at these old consoles, they want to preserve them. Sometimes the emulation is not like I kind of think that some of the Mister projects actually like they kind of borrow code from other projects, and that might not be like 100% complete. Like I don't think that Mister cores are like electronic component complete, if that makes any sense. Like here's literally the entire layout of a system. It's kind of like, okay, let's make a FPGA representation of this complete circuit, and I don't know how detailed. It's very difficult to explain if you don't understand the concepts. I don't even really understand it, so I'm kind of talking out of my butt. But on paper it sounds like okay, that's kind of where maybe CO can explain it better. But that's where those like the Tang Nano 9K or the 20K or whatever the K's is like how many things I believe that they can handle at a time, like how many elements that they can simulate, I think. So you're limited, I think, by that. And so that's why I don't necessarily know if like the N64 one or like this Sega Saturn one or the PlayStation 1 Mister Core, like I don't exactly know how accurate those are, other than, hey, we poked around the circuit and like made the output resemble what a real one would be. I don't necessarily know. I'm not the best person to Sia probably would do a better job at this. But that's the other aspect is having more people analyze the actual circuitry and layouts, and that I will bring up red herring, and some people will dunk on the OpenTendo and things, and his idea of recreating PCBs for consoles, sort of one-to-one. So like making the layouts of the boards be as close as possible to the original consoles without any changes. So people will say, why don't you add NES RGB functionality inside of OpenTendo, or why don't you make it, X or Y or whatever? Why don't you? Oh, I think the other one was he was also making the OpenTendo for the top loader, and I guess that the OpenTendo or the top loader is noisy, like the way that some of the traces were routed on that board, like the physical board, make it something about the image is off. And I do remember there being some kind of like ghosting. Anyway, so there's a technical deficiency in the top loader, and he didn't even correct it. Like, he knew about it. He knew probably where on the board it was located, where there was this issue, and then he didn't fix it. It was literally just a one-to-one reproduction of that original thing. That is one of the most valuable things that you can have, and we talked about this in my Discord. That's one of the most valuable things that you can have for one of those classic consoles, because anyone else that comes along, hi, Ivan, how are you? Anybody else that comes along and wants to improve on those consoles, because the OpenTendo systems are open source, you can do that. You can modify it. You have the one-to-one original layout now in KiCad or whatever. I think Red Herring uses KiCad. So now you can change it all you want and then release it and then build it, and then it's in the world there, like an improvement. That's a thing now that is only possible, that other people do not in the future have to redo because of Red Herring. For at least for those consoles, whatever consoles he's working on. So that is the biggest win that I'll defend Red Herring on for that decision, that it's basically saving an immense amount of time for other people coming down that want to improve the console. So that's a side tangent. But
yeah, no, I think all Red Herring's projects are awesome. Like you said, it's the project that he wanted to do. If you want to make something different,
right.
It's all there. And that's the nice thing about, open source stuff is he puts all the schematics out there. Everything is in the repo. If you have an idea and you want to go change it to make it fit your needs, have at it.
Okay, CEO said PS1 and N64 won't be accurate on the Mr. Hardware without shortcuts. There's nothing wrong with playing it that way. Yeah, I agree. OpenTendo is an amazing project. Yeah, yep. I have my original OpenTendo, the NES one, the front loader one. So, let's just see. Is there anything else that we can talk about? I guess I'll add one more. I'll give a shout out to anybody who hasn't had the opportunity yet, and then I think then we'll kind of sign off. But so Stanislav, and this is, I'll try to be as quick as possible. I don't know a ton about this. I know a little bit about this project. I don't know everything there is to know about this project, but I think I'm not affiliated with Stanislav at all, but I like this project and I want to see it succeed. So I pre-ordered the Mega HD or Mega Switch HD. So if you're interested in this, this is the internal Sega Genesis HDMI mod called the Mega Switch HD. Stanislav, I didn't know this, there are other products that they've made. So there's this Mega Switch Pro, which is kind of like an all-in-one Genesis mod that does RGB. It could do region selection. It has an amp, whatever. Anyway, so they have other mods. It's not just like they came out of nowhere and they're working on this HDMI mod, but this is a new product. There's a couple of caveats. One, it only works with Model 1s and Model 1s with VDP 315, 5313 for now. There might be other versions of it, and I guess that's VA0 to VA 6.5. Do I have any details regarding the release date of the PS1 M Station? No, haven't heard anything about that project yet. I haven't looked back into it, Siraj. Oh, hey, Red Herring's in here. Hey, we were just talking about you. Um, man, that makes me not want to hang out, but it's late for me. It's almost 11. It's getting to be it's 10:30 right now. So anyway, so uh, so not only is Mega Switch only for this Model 1 and then VA 0 to 6.5. Yeah, Beardy Nos, yeah. It has the, I'll call it the red herring NES RGB syndrome. If you don't, the NES RGB only functions because the NES RGB emulates like reproduces some of the PPU functionality of the NES. So if you want to call that not original hardware anymore, that is what it is. That's kind of like Red Herring's thoughts on it. It's not necessarily original hardware anymore because you're simulating some of the PPU stuff. However, other people might tell you that that's BS and that it's not really how it works. But for me, as long as the output is there and it looks good, then that's really all I care about. But I can understand how you would think that it is no longer an original console anymore. And to that end, I suppose that composite is the only way you should be able to play. Well, I guess in RF if you have an older NES, but the composite is the only way you should play NES officially. Anyway, so this is kind of the same situation. It emulates some of the VDP functionality, which is the video processor on the Genesis. So I don't know to what extent. However, this is also market. I wouldn't say this is really marketing. This is just their a project. I think this is also digital to digital. This is not a analog to digital conversion thing. So if you're interested in this project and supporting Stanislavs from Ukraine, I don't know if that really makes a difference as far as whether or not you should buy it, but you need to email. There's an email at the bottom here. It's $150 plus $16 USD for shipping, and it's a pre-order, so they're not going to be delivered right away. They're basically using this as a Kickstarter. So if they're trying to order the parts to build the boards. So if you're interested in supporting this, because this is the first of the original consoles that is the HDMI, the NES. What was the NES HDMI mod called? Why am I forgetting that? High Def NES. The High Def NES, I guess, was technically the first one, but this is the second one. I think that is like an internal digital to digital HDMI mod for the 8-bit, 16-bit consoles. Console only for a real NES, no ifs, and or buts. Yeah, you and NES Professor can go hang out in composite Twitterland. Hi, you going to bed? Okay, I'm almost done. Okay. That's really all I want to talk about tonight. So what was the point of this tonight? What was the point of tonight? Well, I don't know. I think I want to do... I don't really necessarily like... All right. This is like behind the curtain stuff. It takes me an extremely long time to make the Retro Modding News videos. That's why I had to scale it back to once a month. When I was doing weekly Retro Modding News... my Friday night for about 3 or 4 hours was taken up. So from Friday like 8 p.m. to like midnight, I was basically filming and starting the edit. Then Saturday, I would have to finish the edit, make the thumbnail, and upload it to YouTube and do the description. And then it would come out Sunday at noon. And I couldn't make them ahead of time, really, because obviously news doesn't happen ahead of time. And there, I don't know. I couldn't make it faster than that. I couldn't like have a quicker turnaround to have it feel the way I wanted it to feel. So I think that this is still kind of up in the air that I may start to do I don't know, maybe a bi-weekly, like twice a month. Unless I make the news. Yeah, what kind of headlines can I make? So unless I have a feeling that this is easier, because if I just stream on Sundays or something, or Saturdays or whatever, this is it. I only have to stream, and then you can watch the VOD or not. And then later on, if I want to, I can release clips or whatever. Oh, thanks, Belmont. I appreciate it. So if you guys have any thoughts about that, whatever, leave a comment, or maybe I'll put it in a poll on Twitter. I think I'll have a link to the VOD on Twitter tomorrow, and get people's feedback. But this is a little easier for me. It's a little less. I'm not the best talker. If you guys know my videos at all, I put a lot of jump cuts and things when I like cut out silences or weird pauses or something, or if I misspeak or something, I have
I
to.
think your videos are great. Just gonna put that out there.
Bonzo loves my videos. No, I just it just is a lot of mental stress for me to do them. So this is a lot less. I noticed immediately back when I was doing like modding, like when I actually streamed the OpenTendo. I'll leave a link to that in the VOD too. I streamed it over like, I don't know, 10 live streams or something, and that was great because it was like I get to do it, I get to interact with people on the chat, so that was really low stress, and I enjoyed that. I've also streamed before back when I was doing. I had another thing where we live streamed playing Apex Legends, so I kind of knew. Red herring didn't know this. Because you're not on Twitter, red herring. I'm sorry. Oh, that was a fail. Sorry. How did you get in here, red herring? Then what the heck? I'll post it in the Discord. No, so Tim Cooley, I love the community, and I love modding, console modding stuff, and I love talking about it and thinking about it. That's the problem. The problem I don't like is necessarily the video part, the editing of the video. Not that I don't like it, but it just took up so much of my time. So I feel like this is a way for me to get the content out there that people want to see. Ideally, I would live stream like a lot more. Like I would love to do that, and then that way you would have way more up to date knowledge of stuff. Like, okay, the other day the Pixel Effects thing happened, live stream that, or not live stream it, but react to it that night. That's a lot. Or I guess, if I had all the time in the world. I have a full-time job, and I have a son and a family that take up the rest of my time. So really, it's after my son goes to bed is when I can engage retro mode. So it's very difficult for me to do all that at once. So I'm trying to do that stuff better. There might be some other secret announcements, but and also I know I probably talk a lot. Like I'm not used to letting someone else talk. And we'll try to do better with like preparing for this. This was a test stream. Didn't feel very prepared, other than I had a couple of topics, or a couple of ideas. But Bonzo is kind of here. I feel like the vibe that I'm trying to put out into the world is talking to friends about retro stuff, right? So that Bonzo, I don't necessarily know. Like I'm not gonna say like he's not like an expert in electrical engineering. He's not necessarily like a Mike Chi, or he's not like doesn't develop any mods yet. So you're like me. Like I don't do any of that either. So we're just a couple of bros talking about retro. I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you have any thoughts about that?
No, I think we'll be. I mean, I think we'll be a little more prepared in the future, and that'll be a little better. Even on our end, this was kind of like last minute, where it was like, hey, we've been talking about this. Let's just do it, and we picked a time and we just did it. So I think
honestly kind of forgot about it until you messaged me.
That's great. Funny. So I think we'll be prepared more in the future. I'll be better at talking and interrupting. I'm getting used to this too. So
yeah. And technical
hopefully
problems.
It'll improve.
You have to figure out the overheating. One thing you won't have to record, or you won't have to have your camera on 4K, because the highest I can do is 1080 anyways through YouTube. So for the streams, I don't know. That's kind of a bummer that your camera is overheating. That's what was happening, right? Was it telling you on the camera?
I didn't even look. It's kind of hard to get back and see, but yeah, I just turn it off and on, and it plays for a bit. So
yeah, CO,
we'll figure it out for next time.
CO, I agree with the need more roundtables thing. I like the Twitter Spaces, but the Twitter Spaces, there's slight chaos when you invite anyone to talk. Anyone, like publicly anyone to talk. Not in a bad way. I just mean you can't necessarily control what topics people are gonna move into, because it's just sort of like, I want to talk about anything. So that's my problem in general with Twitter Spaces type things. So yeah, we'll figure it out. But what the roundtables thing? Yeah, understand that doing those recorded. I think the retro roundtable on Bob's YouTube channel, that was pre-recorded, right? So I understand that they probably put a lot of effort into the production of those, but even if it was like a monthly thing, I just feel like there's a lot of opportunity for those people to talk. So that was Bob, Voltar, uh, not Steve. Who's the other guy from HD Retrovision? Shoot, Nick. Nick is his name? I think it's Nick. I hope.
Uh-oh. I don't remember either.
Anyway, so I wish they would do more of those because they are the people. But I mean, that's kind of why I like doing this, because I feel like the people in general, the retro people, enjoy people just talking about retro. Like that's like it's part of the FOMO selling out of things effect. It's like, I don't think that you can. Some people that are gonna buy these things they don't care what it is, if it sucks or not. They're just gonna buy it, and they like hearing about it. So, it is fun. Yeah, I learned a lot about streaming by watching this my friend Manic Socratic stream on Twitch. If you want to give him, I'll put that in the Twitter post for anybody who's interested. He, like, one of the things that I realized, and I said we were gonna sign off, but I just want to give a shout out to Manic, because one of the things I learned from him was, I used to way long time ago when Twitch first came out, I would stream League of Legends stuff, but I had no plan. I just sat there and played the game. I really didn't talk to anybody. I was what is that called? A zero viewer Charlie or whatever. What was that? That stupid thing. I don't know. There's some.
I don't know, but isn't it usually Andy, not Charlie?
Oh, Andy. Yeah, that's what it was. Andy. Yeah, zero viewer. I was a zero viewer Andy with this, not interacting with anybody, and I didn't come prepared for things. Now, at least I attempt to be prepared for these. So that's why I like to do the streaming or the modding streams, where I can at least focus on that, answer people's questions, but also interact with the chat, because I think people want to be people want to be noticed. They want to be involved, and if there's a ton of people. Oh, Twitter, yeah, red herring. That's sad that Twitter Spaces there. So I think that that's crucial to have. And I don't know if people think it's tacky to have the chat on the screen, and obviously it's taking up some of Bonzo's thing. But, like, I don't know. I like to be able to see people talk, respond to what I'm saying, and I'm not I'm not, for as prepared as I'm gonna be, I'm never gonna be 100% prepared, because it's literally like saying, I don't know. There's just so many consoles. It's just impossible to be prepared on everything. So, yeah. All right. That's pretty much it, guys. I don't know when I'm going to do this again. I have to make the next one a video, because I don't know if this is like, I'm not bad-mouthing PCBWay. They've been really, very supportive for me, but I feel kind of locked into the contract, I guess. I don't know if I should be saying that or not, but, like, it's fine. I like PCBWay, so they sponsor me, and I would like to continue to make at least a video for them with their sponsorship a month. So, but eventually the goal would be to do more of these more often, but this live stream and maybe some other secrets. So, okay, that's all I got. See you later, guys.
Hope everybody had fun. Thanks for coming.
I'll put this in the tweeter thing. I'll make a post with the VOD, so if you have any comments, leave them in the comments. All right.